Hey folks, Grant here. We're launching a Patreon campaign to help improve saving the game, and I wanted to fill you in on all the details. Now, I suspect most of you are familiar with Patreon, but if you're not, let me explain it very briefly. Patreon's a web service which lets you act as a patron for creators you like. Where services like Kickstarter or GoFundMe are for single projects or single needs, Patreon's designed to give creators a level of ongoing support from their fans and backers. Now, before we go any further, I want to clarify something. If nobody pledges anything and Saving the Game never receives $1 from this Patreon campaign, our show will continue exactly as it is right now. We're not asking for money to keep the show going, as if it would end tomorrow if you didn't pledge anything. However, we've had plans and ideas for improving Saving the Game for a very long time, and some of those cool ideas have languished since Peter and I started the show back in July of 2012. Unfortunately, we've hit some practical barriers in terms of time, in-house skill, and, yes, money, and those are preventing us from acting on those plans. That's why we need your support, to make Saving the Game the podcast we've always wanted it to be. So, let's go over what we need, what your support will go to, and the fun bonuses you as backers will get for supporting Saving the Game this way. Our first goal is $20 a month of listener support. It costs about $20 a month to keep Saving the Game on the internet. Now, traditionally, I've paid for that myself, which is obviously fine. However, if we hit that goal, we can say that we are completely listener funded, and that actually means a lot, both to Peter and I, who would be immensely grateful and quite flattered, but also to others we interact with as a podcast. Guest hosts, artists, editors, people we meet at conventions, even potential new listeners. If we can tell them and show them Saving the Game is funded entirely by our listener community, well, that immediately tells them that we've got a dedicated, invested audience, and that we must have something to say and be worth talking to. So, aside from the tremendous and powerful vote of confidence for us, it has some bearing in our ability to reach out to others, especially industry professionals. It improves the show both by ensuring a stable financial foundation and by enhancing our reputation. So $20 a month is our first goal. Our second goal is $45 each month. That gives us $25 each month to spend on the show after covering all of our hosting costs. That adds up pretty quickly, and it gives us a small but workable budget for improvements. There are some immediate hardware needs. If we do videos, for example, we need much better cameras, as you can tell from this video. We also don't go to conventions much, and while that's mostly a time concern, budget matters too. This would be enough to get one of us out to a local convention and at least cover the ticket cost. We'd like to do some t-shirt designs and get some other artwork and collateral made. Well, this $45 goal gives us the budget to do that. We may even use some of this budget to buy RPG books, because those books and the games we play with them become content for us to talk about on the show. We don't want Saving the Game to go stale. There's an intermediate tier of $100 each month, which is mostly just more budget. If we do hit that goal, which is very ambitious, we'll commit to using some of that support for new content, new forms of content. Videos, live streams of games, something. The last goal is, frankly, preposterous, but I want to talk about it briefly before I describe all the cool bonuses our Patreon backers will get. At $300 of listener support each month, we would have the budget to hire an outside podcast editor or editing service. That would eliminate the biggest barrier we have to producing a weekly podcast. Peter and I are currently alternating on the editing task, and it takes whichever one of us is editing somewhere between 12 and 15 hours to edit a single episode of Saving the Game. Maybe 9 hours if we're really good and it's a short episode. That ends up being 4 dedicated nights of editing for each episode, in addition to our recording night. If we go long, or we have a guest host whose audio isn't great and requires a lot of manual cleanup, it might even be 5 nights. That's a big time investment. If we hired an outside editor, we could easily record a new episode each week, send it off to the editor, and publish it when it came back. Now, $300 per month is frankly ludicrous. Half of our weekly listeners would have to pledge some support to reach that goal. But it's out there for us to dream about, and maybe one day reach as Saving the Game continues to improve due to your support. Okay, enough of what you can do for us. Let's talk about what we'll do for you in return. If you back us for any amount each month, you get to call yourself a patron of our show. You also get access to a Google Drive folder containing all of our outlines for past shows. All of them, going all the way back to episode 1. If I finally get some forums set up, I'll also make sure you have a Patreon tag, badge, or whatever on those forums if you want it. And of course, you'll receive our ongoing and sincere gratitude because you're awesome. If you pledge $5 a month or more, you'll get all of that. Additionally, you'll get to pose a single question to us. All of those questions will be added to a table, and we'll roll on that random table every episode. Whichever question comes up, we will answer, however ridiculous it is. Naturally, it'll need to fit our clean rating for the show, but if you want to ask us about our favorite foods, or the worst time we ever had at camp as a kid, or why U2 is clearly the best multi-decade musical act in history, look, if your question comes up, we'll answer it. And once we do, you get to pose a new question to us to replace that one on the list. Should be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to it. If you're a crazy awesome person, and you pledge $10 or more each month to support Saving the Game, you'll get everything I've described so far. We'll also occasionally send out a poll to backers at this level asking them to vote on our next episode's topic. I can't guarantee exactly how often this will be, but we'll aim for once a quarter or so to make sure your pledge matters. We'll have to work around guest schedules and the like, so I can't say it will be every 3 months on the dot, but that's roughly what we're aiming for. Now, if you pledge $20 or more each month, obviously you love the show, and you're ridiculously generous, well beyond what we deserve. At that point, you'll get everything already mentioned, and we'll work with you on some sort of custom reward. We'll make sure it's personalized for you in some way, and suited to your amazing generosity. So, that's our Patreon campaign. If you can't pledge anything to support Saving the Game, please don't worry about that. Just listening to the show on a regular basis is support enough for the show as it is right now. We love our listener community, you're all fantastic people, and we know because we've been talking with you and getting feedback from you for nearly 4 years now. You make the show possible, believe me. It seems that every time I start doubting my ability to keep producing episodes, or I start feeling like the show is slipping in some way, God sends one of you to reach out to us and reassure us. That's genuinely amazing, and I can't tell you how much that helps us. And if you do decide to back us, you've got our fervent gratitude for your support. Thank you. You're helping to grow Saving the Game in ways we'd previously only hoped for. If you have any questions, I'll be putting together an FAQ page on our website, stgcast.org, which will address any concerns, like, how do I know this money isn't funding Grant's jellybean addiction, or how are you tracking these funds? That sort of thing. If you have any ideas for goals and backer rewards, let us know. We'll definitely consider them, and if they're feasible and cool, we just might implement them. On that note, I think it's time to wrap this up. God bless you, thank you for your support, and happy gaming. Take it easy, folks.